Now, exercise 103, types of data. Now, you've seen a fair bit of this in stage 4 and stage 5. So you've already learned some of this, that the two main types of statistical data are categorical data. So that's data that can be put into categories, which are usually words or symbols like colour. Okay, that's an example of, what month someone might be born in or something like that. What type of music they like. So if you're asking someone a question and the answer they give you is a word or a category, okay, then that's categorical data. Now, another type of data is quantitative data. Now, quantities are numbers, okay? So if you ask someone a question and their answer to you is a number, like how old are you, how much do you weigh, how tall are you, things like that, okay? How much rain fell, and you might say 20 millimeters or something like that. If the data that you give is a number, then it's quantitative data, so it's like a quantity. Now, categorical data and quantitative data can be further broken up. So categorical data, now this is new for you, you haven't seen this before. Categorical data can be further divided, so we've got categorical data, into nominal and ordinal data. Now, ordinal sounds like ordered. Ordinal sounds like you order. So ordinal data can be ordered. You can put it in order. So an example of ordinal data, something that you can put in order, might be the months of the year, okay? So they're words. I might say, when were you born? You might say March, someone else might say September, but we know that March comes before September. So that categorical data can be ordered. Now, when the categorical data can't be ordered, it's called nominal data. Okay, so that can't be ordered. So, for example, if I ask you what colour your eyes are, brown, or what colour your hair is, or what type of music you like, and you might give me an answer, what type of food do you like from the canteen, you'll give me an answer. You can't put that data in any sort of order, so that's nominal data, okay? So just down here, colour of hair is an example of nominal data because the categories can't be ordered. For example, blonde does not come before or after brown. An example of ordinal data would be the month of birth, because you can put the months of the year in order, okay? Now, data, again, is categorical or quantitative. So quantitative data, now you've done this before, there are two types. Discrete data. Discrete means sort of on its own. It means that you can count it. So I might say, how many mobile phones in the house? You might say 6. How many TVs in the house? You might say 2. Okay, so that is data. If you have to go around counting things, that's discrete data. So it's counted and you'll have separate values or gaps. But continuous data is different. You have to measure it on a scale like this. Might say, how long is, I don't know, your finger, and you might measure the length of your finger, your baby finger or whatever. You might say, yes, look, I can't decide, is it 8.2 or 8.3, for example, if you're trying to measure something, because it's measured on a continuous scale and you have to decide what your measurement might be. And remember that in all measurement, there is error in measurement. So when you're measuring the length of something, it's measured on a continuous scale. So all the types of things that are measured on a continuous scale might be, just think of a thermometer, that is on a continuous scale. So we'll just go through these again. So discrete data, an example is number of tries scored in a game, for example, number of goals in a netball game, all right? Number of goals in a soccer game, because they are numbers that are obtained by counting. Might be, as I said before, how many phones in the house, how many pets you might have. In this case, they're whole numbers with gaps between the possible values. For example, you can't have 1.8 tries scored or 2.5 goals or something like that. Now, An example of continuous data, I gave you an example before. It might be things like, so continuous data includes things like measuring length, measuring your height. Okay, so examples of continuous data. They've got amount of petrol, because that's measured in litres or mils. Well, actually, when you're measuring petrol, if you look at the petrol pump, it might say 43.15 litres or something like that, okay? So we've got length, we've got height, if you're trying to measure length, your height. If you're looking at weight, if you're looking at temperature, okay, they're all measured on a continuous scale. If you're looking at volume, that's measured on a, with a measuring cylinder that you might have in science, or with a pump, for example, when you're filling up petrol. Okay, so all these things that can be measured are continuous data, examples of continuous data. So let's have a look at some examples here. So exercise 103, these are just some questions from this exercise. You will be completing these exercises for homework. It says classify each of the following types of data as categorical or quantitative. So type of religion, you might say Christian, Islam, Buddhism, they're categories. Number of computers in a home, that's numerical, but we call it quantitative, okay? Type of driver's license held, you can just have a normal car driver's license or a truck license or a bus license. So that will be a category, or I think it's category A or different categories, okay? Population of a city, you would give me a number, so that's a quantity. Number of CDs bought online, you might tell me you bought 20 online. That would be a quantity. And marital status, married, single, etc., would be a category. So they're categorical and quantitative. You've been doing those for a few years now, so there should be no problem there. Now, in question 3, these are all categorical data, but you have to decide if they're nominal or ordinal. So basically, ordinal, it's really hard to sort of remember what nominal is, but just think that ordinal, that's the one that can be ordered. Okay, so a brand of car, BMW, whatever, Toyota, that can't be ordered, so that's nominal. But level of manager, you can be the general manager, you can be an assistant manager. There are positions and levels, and some are higher up than others. That can be ordered, so that's ordinal data. Ordinal, and this one is nominal. Now, level of satisfaction with the government. You might say very satisfied, just satisfied, undecided, not satisfied, unsatisfied, very unsatisfied. That can be ordered. So that's ordinal. Now, you would have seen surveys, for example, where you have to rate how happy you are with something, okay? And marital status, married, single, divorced, whatever, that can't be ordered. So that's nominal data. And now with question 4, it says classify each of the following types of quantitative data as discrete. So quantitative data is data that is numerical. As discrete or continuous, remember, discrete can be counted. Continuous, you have to measure it on either a scale or with a thermometer or with a stopwatch or something like that. So, amount of rainfall each day, well, that's measured, so that would be continuous. The mass of an athlete is also measured. That's continuous. The length of a mobile phone call, that's continuous. That's measured in, seconds, or even you could go to smaller units. And running time for a 100-meter athlete, that's also continuous. So we didn't seem to have any discrete ones, but we did have some examples up here. As I said, for discrete, tries scored in a game. Other examples, I might just put some down here. Another example of discrete is the number of pets that someone might have, or the number of phones, mobile ones, in a house, or how many siblings. Number of siblings might be another example that someone might have. Okay, so that's it with types of data. So you need to learn those 6 terms, okay? Categorical, quantitative. So categorical, we've got nominal and ordinal, so that's the ordered one. And in quantitative, which are numbers, they're either whole numbers or you have to measure them on a scale, continuous.